eventually, James Spader, he's just in his office, and he's trying to clean himself off because he noticed he has, like, jism all over his pants. He's like, no. Oh, no. Oh, Jesus. He's just trying to get it all off, Chad, but it's all dry now. And so it's like, this isn't good. Can't get it off, Chad. It's too much dry jism. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Could you get me a cup of coffee?
All right, so Chad, I got a question for you, Chad. As you typically know, Chad, for these reviews, I like to ask you a very specific question. How many of you have seen the 2002 film Secretary, Chad? I'm very curious about that. How many of you have seen this film? I saw this years ago. I saw this probably like I'd say a decade ago. I remember really enjoying it. I remember really liking it. I thought it was a cool interpretation of the BDSM community. I'm sure people might have problems with it. But, like, this is the true 50 Shades. I don't even call it 50 Shades, of gray. The movie, funny enough, even markets itself as, now, this is the real 50 Shades. But I always remember it being, like, a really interesting movie with two very compelling performances. That's just for me. What we got here, chat? Nye Brownie, yes, and not for reasons. This is Nye Brownie. Berserker, I haven't, but I've heard of it. Mocha Medics, I haven't. Stranger Shoe, I have, but it's been at least a decade. Crimson, never heard of this movie. Okay, so I've not. Now I'm curious. DeCarlux, never heard of it. Snick, nope. This is like a Fatal Attraction kind of movie. Not really. Anticlay Seal says nope. Austin is ditto. Mocha Max, never heard of it. I have not, but I've seen a certain scene. Oh, yes, the scene. Yeah, everyone's seen that scene. We'll get to that scene. It's at the end of the movie. I heard this movie until now. Ooh, this is good. We got a lot of people. We got a lot of virgins here, chat. A lot of virgins. I appreciate that. Deadpool, I have seen it. It's what 50 Shades wishes it was. Pretty much. It's our favorite. I thought so. Nia Brownie. I think you suggested this film, too. I think that's why I'm reviewing it to this day. Sir and Baby, nope, never. DT Darkslayer by reputation, Winfox. I read Zack Snyder pitch Batman with Lois Lane. Glad the deal was turned on. Me too, Winfox. Me too. And James Spader's also in it. James Spader's also in it. Never heard of it. This is cool. This is cool. So a lot of you have not seen. Some of you have seen it. Some of it's a favorite film of yours, Naya's. But yeah, I've only seen this one other time, Chad. I'll give you a little history of this film. It came out. It got mostly positive reviews. It did get a number of negative reviews, Chad, because of the sexual content, because of the positive imagery, or, kind of the positive image of BDSM being put out there. It's like, say people who can have this, they can still normalize it. The kind of the movie is about, kind of how it ends, Chad. The idea of pain that you inflict on yourself can be repurposed and used in a more positive way. That's how I get the sense of the movie was trying to say at the end of the film. And you're just another person that's a part of society, Chad. It's like, you're just, you're going to wave goodbye to your husband as he goes to work, and you have all the kids playing in the front yard and stuff. So it's very much that. I guess a lot of critics did not take kindly to that, Chad. However, the movie still got very positive reviews, particularly for, number one, Maggie Gyllenhaal's performance, Chad. I think this is what kind of made her career at first. Like, she was already a known actress, a known actor, already appearing in all sorts of other films. She had Donnie Darko, which funny enough with her brother, Jake Gyllenhaal. But this was the big one. This is what got her a lot of critical acclaim. And also for James Spader. I mean, he was already known at this time, but he was also praised for his performance. And this is really what it is. It's a movie about these two people, chat, indulging, if you will, in the BDSM, chat. All that kinky shit you heard about. And the movie, it's funny because when I bought the movie, or when I rented it, because I paid money for it, chat. I paid money for it. There was an opening trailer for it and everything. And the trailer, marketing it. And the trailer was they're like, now before, you had 50 Shades of Grey, but now see the original 50 Shades of Grey. So they're even like trying to capitalize on the 50 Shades of Grey craze. And it's like, listen, there's some fucked up and weird shit in this movie. We'll go all over the details and things. So there's stuff that comes off unintentionally funny, and I think it's supposed to be. Maybe it's intended to be funny. It's also a comedy to a degree. I mean, it's fucked up. It's a dramedy. There's some, like some real shit in here. It gets down to the nitty-gritty details. I'll be going over all of it, chat. But this is by far a better version of 50 Shades. I don't even want to compare it to 50 Shades. I think the only big reason why it's often compared to 50 Shades of Grey is because James Spader's character, chat, is named Mr. Grey. Chat. And so I think that's why people have that natural comparison to it, even though they're not really the same. Especially in terms of performance and pacing. The movie is actually, I think, very well paced. It's an interesting film. I really dug it, chat. Again, mostly critical success, chat, for the most part. Specifically for the two leading performances. Box office, not much of a box office success. It did have a budget of $4 million, made a box office of $9.3 million, so it made its money back at the very least. And I think it's probably done well on VOD, but it's mostly known as kind of like a critical darling. And so I dug the hell out of this movie watching again, chat, so you can already kind of guess what my rating for this film will be on the DT scale. But we got to go on the nitty-gritty details, chat. Chat, we open up cold fucking opening, chat. We're in an office environment. Chat. Just kind of looks like it's like a repurposed home that's been turned into an office. And I've been in these before. I had a job, chat. I had a job way back in the day. I worked for like a Catholic organization. I'm not a very religious person, chat, but they paid me, they hired me, and boom, I was in there. And it's very much was like a house that was repurposed to be like an office. And it just felt that. I was like, oh, it got to immerse me immediately. I remember this because everything feels like worn out. There's a lot of wear and tear and everything. And there's rodent problems. There's rodent problems throughout the movie. And it deals with the bondage and kinky stuff and everything. But I was just like, oh, this is too real. Because I lived this, chat. I lived it. I was the Maggie Gyllenhaal character, chat. I fucking lived this shit. And then she fucking walks out. And she's got a coat hanger contraption on her body, chat. It's like she's got this collar. And her hands are lifted up like this. She's like, ah. And she's doing office work, chat. And she's typing. And she's stapling things over her chin. Just going, bah. And all doing all that stuff with her arms up like this, and she just goes over, grabs papers and things and letters, and she's walking around with them, dropping them in the done section. You got the outgoing mail and ingoing mail and stuff, but then she's got to make Mr. Gray's coffee. She got to make Mr. Gray's coffee, so she grabs some sugar, puts it in a mug, grabs the thing, pours it in there, chat. And she waddles over to his office, chat, where he's just jerking it. He's just jerking it the whole time. It's what's happening? Wait, what is this? And then Maggie Gyllenhaal provides a narration of the whole movie. It says you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Yes, I am. That's a hell of a fucking cold opening, chat. To Maggie Gyllenhaal wearing a fucking bondage coat hanger contraption she's being drawed and quartered, and James Spader just fucking going to town in his office. I would like to know what happened here, chat. We cut 6 months earlier. 6 months earlier, chat. Maggie Gyllenhaal, she's been spending time in a clinic, chat, asylum, sanatorium, whatever you want to call it, chat, for many, many months. She talks about how she maintained a specific schedule. It brought her a sense of structure and everything. I would get up in the morning, we'd have breakfast at 9, and then we'd have classes, and then recreational activities. Then I'd watch some TV, and I'd go to bed at 10. She did this all the time. And not once did I do the thing that got me there in the first place. And we see she's just out there, feels very shy, chat. The word that always comes to mind when I'm watching her is she's very mousy, just always kind of inside of herself. Always like this, always closed off, chat, always looking off, never making eye contact. Clearly she's been through some shit. She's had a very rough life, chat. Her time in the asylum, it just made her docile. She's medicated, she's overly medicated and everything. And you have this doctor come out, and it's I wish you the best of luck, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Hope you're going to be doing okay. And she says, thank you, doctor. Thank you for providing me instruction. And he's I see you later. And he fucking goes in. And we see she just sits back down, chat. She just sits back down, and she's just all sniffling. And she does these things. She sniffles, chat. She has these little ticks. And she just seems like, still so closed off. And then we see this car pull up, and it's her mom. Her mom's there to pick her up, chat. And apparently, chat, this is a very special day, because not only is she getting out of the asylum, chat, out of the sanatorium, she's also the clinic, whatever you want to call it, chat, whatever's the appropriate term. It's the day of her sister's wedding. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's okay. Wow, there's a lot going on there. I mean, you would probably want to get out of the asylum, chat. You need like a few days to decompress when you get back home, acclimate. It's like, no, sister's wedding is today. It's in the backyard. You got to be there. And she's like, Doctor, Chris. That's what he sounds like. That's what he sounds like. Watch the movie, Chad. You tell me he's going, Maggie Gyllenhaal. He prefaces everything with an right in front of it, Chad, before he starts a sentence. Rick O'Hara, welcome. She will be doing very well. And so they go to the fucking wedding. Everyone's like, woo! Everyone's having a great goddamn time, Chad. We did get to meet Maggie Gyllenhaal's sister. You know, we see it. She's like, yeah! She's dancing with her former fiance, now husbando, Chad. Now he's a husbando. Everyone's having a great time, Chad. She's just watching from the distance, and she's like, she's clapping everything, Chad. Like overly medicated, just completely inside of herself. Just so shy about what's going on. Just want to act, man. Then we get this one guy, looks like a creeper. I mean, the guy means well, Chad, but he's also, we'll know more about him. Peter. Little Peter, Chad. We're going to call him Little Pete. He comes over, and he's, like, also very socially awkward like her. Like, he's been through some stuff. We'll learn that he had a nervous breakdown later in life, Chad, and everything. And he's kind of flirting with her, and she's kind of they're awkwardly flirting, Chad. It's like, this is just awkward to watch, but it's good. It's good acting across the board. It's just like, it just feels too goddamn real, Chad. It feels too goddamn real. And she's like, I haven't seen you since high school. It's like, I haven't seen you since high school. It's like, they got a lot in common. They're both awkward. And then, you know, we cut, Chad, and then everyone's dancing. Everyone's having a little dance. Yeah, on the dance floor, it's the backyard, Chad. Everyone's dancing on grass, playing some music. And then fucking Dad comes over. He's like, Maggie, I love you. Hug. And she's like, Dad, are you drinking? He's like, yeah, I'm fucking drinking. Yeah, it's a fucking wedding. Who's not drinking? She said, I thought you quit. He's like, you know, I fell off the wagon a couple times. Who doesn't? Who doesn't fall off the wagon? Here, hold my beer. Hold my beer, Pete. And Pete's like, okay, sir, I'll hold your beer. And he's like, let me dance with you, Maggie. And he just fucking falls on her, just like, And at first I thought, like, oh, is this what it was? Was he like molesting his daughter? Because I hadn't seen this movie in like a decade. She's like, okay, what is this? But no, he's just a fucking alcoholic. He's like, I gotta sit down. Too much dancing. Peter, help me. And Peter's like, shit, here we go. And he fucking takes him. He sits him down. Everyone's looking at him because he's doing his disturbance and everything. Even the Maggie's sister and her brother-in-law just like, here we fucking go. Gotta deal with this. And Maggie, she's just upset by this shit. She's upset, but she just goes. She runs in the house, goes in her room. And she has like that prototypical room of someone who has just been, I don't know, like, hasn't been exposed to life, because even though I get the sense she's in her 20s, I don't know what her age is. Like, maybe she's in her late teens or early 20s. It doesn't like have it paid off. Everybody knows you're molesting Maggie, Peter. But she goes into her room, and it's that kind of room where it's like it has not changed since she was like 10 years old. Everything's fucking unicorns. Everything's like the Little Mermaid. There's mermaid shit. There's unicorn shit. Everything is pink and purple and pastel colors, chat. It's like, why does this grown woman look this way? Now, maybe she's in they don't say her age in the movie. I looked at it, I was like, you look maybe in your 20s. Like, let's say early 20s, chat. Yeah, again, it's like, this is kind of weird to have this. Maybe your parents will keep this room. You went off to college. It's like, oh, shit, it's awkward. But she hasn't changed that. I mean, she changes eventually, chat. But here it's like, this is weird. Just been very sheltered her whole life, chat. Just been closed off, and she's just kind of escaped into this. But she's not playing with no goddamn unicorns, chat, okay? Because she goes into her drawer. Witness! Jesus, God, witness me. Xavar Gaming, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for the raid. Look at these raids, chef. Back to back. Mr. Humanair, Xavar Gaming, welcome to the stream. Marvel Buff Nerd, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see you. Good to see you today. No, hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a nice stream. Currently in the middle of my review for Secretary. We're now in the Unicorn Mermaid room with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Good times are going to be had. Make me feel loved. Of course, Marvel Buff. No, in case I miss someone, I always like to acknowledge them. Even with the raids. Of course, thank you, Xavar Game. Hope you're doing very well. Hope you're having a nice Monday evening. Hope your stream was a success. Wishing success on everybody. But she goes into this drawer, she takes out this drawer, and she has this like little box shit. She opens it, and it's filled with knives. It's filled with knives and razor blades and this ceramic ballerina statue, this little ceramic ballerina statue. And she has this sharpener. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she starts like like sharpening. This is all in the first 5 minutes of the movie, by the way. So we got, Maggie Gyllenhaal. I'm in a coat hanger bondage suit to now sharpening the foot of a ceramic ballerina doll. Yeah, it's like Doki Doki Literature Club. Very, very accurate, Austin Nick. She sharpens it and she lifts up her dress and she's exposing the thick thighs. I was like, oh, now I know what this is. She cuts herself. She cuts herself, Chad. I was like, oh, shit. And every time she cuts herself or was about to cut herself, it's like, ooh, it's always really awkward and just, God. I mean, she sells it because she fucking sticks this thing. She's like, she's pressing it like so hard into her thigh. She like so hard. It's like, oh my God, she's actually going to fucking do it. And I was like, damn, that's dedication, Maggie. And she looks outside and she sees, drunk dad and everything. And she stops herself. She does stop herself from cutting herself, Chad, because she remembers her time at the clinic, at the sanatorium. She's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then it cuts later that evening, chat. We find out that that her sister and brother-in-law, they're going to live in the guest house in the backyard. I get the impression her family, has money, but... the dad can't hold down a job, chat, because of alcoholism. And she's making some tea for herself, chat. She's boiling some tea. Right. But then she hears some arguing in the family room, in the living room, chat. Where he's like, I didn't need the job. Fuck the job. And she's like, what do you mean, fuck the job? How did you get fired? He's like, I don't know. You got fired because you were drunk. You were drunk doing your job. He's like, I like a little, happy hour sometimes, okay? At 10 in the morning, Howard, he's like, fuck you, bitch, and he fucking slaps her. Just backhands her, shit. Just backhands her. And Mom's like, oh, and she falls over and shit. And Dad's like, and he fucking just wanders out of the house. And he's gone for most of the movie. He says, he just goes away. He wanders. I guess this movie takes place in Los Angeles. I don't know where we are. I feel like it's Los Angeles. How did you get fired on your day off? That's right. That's right. He got fired his day off. He was so drunk he got fired on his day off. And he wanders the streets of L.A. for like 6 months until we eventually come back to him. I guess for several weeks. And, Maggie, she sees this and she just, I feel the need to cut. Doesn't cut herself, chat, though. But she grabs the boiling teapot, chat, the pot that's boiling on the stove, and she goes upstairs to her room, and she puts it right between her thick Maggie Gyllenhaal thighs, chat, and she closes those. She clamps them down, goes, ugh, and burns her fucking thighs, chat. It's like, ooh, on boiling red-hot metal. It's like, oh, my God. And then we cut, and it's like, oh, my God. We then cut, we're in the pool, and she's like doing the narration chat. She's sad. No one's seen him burn. I guess she has like these things on her thighs now, so we don't see the burn marks. But she's like floating in the pool and shit. She's all sad. But the one thing she's going to dedicate herself to, chat, to prove that she is also. We see what happened, too. We see what happened, what got her into this slime as well, chat, 'cause she's thinking about all these things. And we learn that apparently, Dad was drunk one time, and he was... And Mom was trying to help him and everything. But Maggie, she was like trying to cut herself, like just doing dishes. Like, I'm just going to do a nice little cut. Nice little cut, a couple little cuts and feel good about myself. That's what it is. That's her logic. It's really fucked up and just sad. It's tragic, chat. This is all in the first 15 minutes of the movie. She's like, I'm just going to cut myself with this steak knife. Just go, boop, 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 boop. But apparently she cut herself too much, chat. And she goes, oh, no. Oh, no. And all the blood's all over the place. And the mom's like, what did you do? What happened? What'd you do? She's like, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I just cut myself. And she's like, what do you mean? And that's why they sent her to the clinic, chat, because they find out that she cuts herself. And we also see the scene when the mom, she locks up all the sharp objects, the ones that she knows of. She doesn't know that Maggie has her cutting box that she uses on herself all the time. But she locks up anything that's sharp, chat, all the forks, all the knives, all the sporks. They all go in there. Batches think of the Tiffany's. And lurking, I heard Maggie, and yeah, I know what this movie is because I'm a deviant. There you go. Hey, it's not bad. Honestly, it gets better, I think, in a way. It's articulated in a more positive way, maybe you could say. I want to probe your mind, Shed, about what you think the ending of the movie means. I have my own ideas of it, but we'll get to it. And so the mom locks up all the sharp objects, and it's just, and the dad, he's fucking traveling the L.A. streets right now as a deviant. And not a deviant, Chad, as a transient. He's just out there just drinking. He's just drinking now. I don't know how he affords alcohol. He doesn't have any money, but someone gets his hand on it. But what Maggie wants to do to prove that she's competent, Chad, that she can have sharp objects around her and just lead a normal lifestyle, even though she's still obviously a very broken, a very traumatized person, Chad, for various reasons. Probably because of her father's alcoholism and the unhappy family life and a number of other issues that she's experienced. She's taking all these classes, she has particularly typing classes and things, and she gets the best at typing. And everybody was like, what decade does this movie take place? I feel like it feels like the 80s. It feels like the 80s because she's like using it. It's like we're at this point in the movie, the movie was made in 2002, but like based on everything that I'm seeing, it must be the 80s or the very early 90s because it's like she's using a typewriter. She's using a typewriter. It's not like one of those, like those classic typewriters you've seen in films, like from the 30s or 40s. No, this is like an 80s, late 80s-esque typewriter. So I get the sense we're in the late 80s. Based on the hairstyles, too, and fashion, I'm feeling like this is probably the 80s. But she aces the typing test, Chad. She does really good. And, she goes back home, Chad. She goes back home, and, she's like, well, I did good on the typing test, so I don't need to cut myself anymore because I'm proving myself a competent individual. And she goes to her bedroom. She grabs her knife box, Chad, with all the sharp objects and the ceramic ballerina. And she goes downstairs, and she throws it in the trash, but then she sees something, Chad. She can't help herself because she's like, she got to get it back. She can't let go of it yet. She's too traumatized. But she sees a newspaper inside the trash can. And she grabs the trash can, because back in the day, people looked at newspapers for jobs. She goes upstairs, she circles all these secretary jobs, and she starts, like, practicing, like, yes, I know she apparently learned that she's never held a job before, chat. I don't think she has a college degree. I don't know if that's said, but we know that she has never had a job before. And she's practicing all this stuff. And she circles this one job, Chad, for the secretary job for a Mr. Gray Esquire, Chad. His Esquire is at the end. So I was like, oh, he sounds very fancy. He sounds very fucking fancy. So let's go over to him and see what he's all about. And so her mom drives her everywhere, Chad, because they don't trust her to drive like any motor vehicles. I think even her doctor says don't have her drive anything. And so the mother drives her there, Chad. It's fucking pouring rain during this time, too. Born right, and the mother's like, I'll wait out here, let me know how the interview goes. And it's like secretary wanted. You see this the Mr. Gray paralegal expert secretary wanting, and big flashing light shit, like boom boom boom. It's like, all right. And she goes in there, chat, and she walks in. The whole fucking office is just destroyed. Everything's disheveled. There's papers on the ground. There's potted plants knocked. It was like, what the fuck happened? Like a tornado went through there. And we see this one woman who, yes, is the secretary, was the secretary, Chad. She's just like, she's just crying the whole time. And she's just putting all of her stuff in this box, shit, like I guess she was just fired or something. And she's just walking out the fucking door. And then she, like, looks at Maggie Gyllenhaal, just like, and she leaves. And Maggie Gyllenhaal's like, okay. But she's like, excuse me, is anyone here? Hello? And she goes, it goes down this hallway, this very long hallway, Chad. She's all this stuff that's been knocked over and stuff. And then we see Mr. Gray. He's just like, Jesus. It's rough. He's just all disheveled too, Chad. It's like something went down here. We don't know what it is. Was he, with the secretary, and he's all disheveled, ties all askew, Chad, hair is all askew and everything. But he hears this person coming down. He's like, oh, shit. And it's very weird because his desk is, like, completely neat. It's very neat, chat. He has like 5 red markers all lined up in a row, chat. He has like pencils lined up in a row, like all these very weird specific things. He has like a phone, almost like he has OCD too. I think in the sense that he has a little bit of OCD. And he's like, he opens like his drawer. Here's Maggie coming down there. He's fixing his hair. Instead of this James Spader's character of Mr. Gray. I was called Christian Gray, but his name is Mr. Gray. Fixes himself up. And she comes in there. He's like, hello. And she's like, hi, I'm here for the secretary job. He's like, yeah, secretary, yeah. I see you're busy. I'll come back. She's no. I new opening. Please sit down. And she goes, okay. And she walks over to him. She's very socially awkward, chat. She just hands him the paper. He's like, what is that? And she's like, it's the thing I won. He goes, oh, you won the typing award at the typing classes. Yes, clerical work. Yes. And she goes, yep, I did. He goes, okay, all right. Put it there. Put it there. And she goes, okay, fuck shit. There he goes. And she goes, okay. He's like, I can come back later if you know. He's like, no, we're interviewing now. Are you pregnant? And she's like, no. Are you married? No. Okay. Are you menstruating? No, he doesn't say that one. Call him Ultron. Oh, strings. And it's just like going off. Just asking all these very specific questions about like, are you pregnant? Are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? Are you currently engaging in sexual behavior? And she's like, no. No, I'm not. And he goes, excellent. You got the job. She's like, I did? Yep, you got the job. She's like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, can you make a cup of coffee? And she goes, yeah, coffee, 2 sugars, please. Thank you. And he just goes back doing stuff. She's like, okay. And she just goes to the office. It's all disheveled. It's all been torn apart. This other secretary's gone at this point. It's fucking weird. And she goes there, and she's like, she goes to, like, the water jug. Just that kind of water jug where the water, like, machine where you got cold and hot. And she tries to do it, but the water jug's empty. I've experienced this, Maggie. And so she's got to lift these fucking heavy, giant water jug shaft for the water machine, which, by the way, those are a fucking pain. I mean, she doesn't have any upper body strength, Chad. How is she going to lift that? She can't lift that. He should fucking lift it, or maybe get a guy to lift. Terrible. He should have done it himself. And so she's struggling to put this thing in. God, and she's spilling the water, old chats all over her nips. She get like, her boobs are all like, you see through everything. You see through, and then the water nips are right there. She gets it up there. She gets it up there, makes a coffee, and, you know, she puts the sugar in it, goes back to him, and he's reviewing the things, her resume and stuff, and she puts the coffee. He's like, oh, good. 2 sugars next time, but I will allow it. And she's like, oh, okay. And just the whole interview, as it continues on, she's just asking her more probing questions, about her life, about the duties here. And he's like, listen, you're going to see some weird shit. You know, paralegal, I deal with all sorts of things, all sorts of individuals, okay? They got a lot of stories, they got a lot of problems, and you're going to see some stuff. But your job, as I expect you, is to type. You're going to type, okay? And you're going to answer the phone. Can you do that? And she's like, yeah, I can do that, sure. And he's like, excellent, you're hired. Here's your fucking first check. Go, move, come in tomorrow. And she's like, all right. And she goes outside, chat. She goes outside, and the mom's like, so how'd it go? And she's like, I got the job. She's like, you did? He goes, yeah, obviously. It's like, okay. And then we cut to chat. It's she's in like the bathtub. And she's got one of those unicorn mermaid, Little Mermaid music boxes going off. And she's like in this bath water. It's like a little soapy and milky and things. And it's very sexual. And she's like, hello, welcome to the office of Mr. Gray, Esquire. Hello, welcome to the office of Mr. Gray, Esquire. But she keeps hearing the music box. She just grabs it. She goes, no! And she just smashes it. She just destroys it. It's like, okay. Okay. Oh, also, he was always looking at her water nips, too, Chad. Like, anytime, because she got water over something, he's just like, so, where are you from? Just the whole time, Chad is looking at her water nips. It's like, damn, okay, take it easy. And so, but hey, she got the job. And she fucking freaks out, Chad. Also, he uses another interesting thing about Mr. Gray. He, everything's phallic with him. He has a lot of phallic imagery that's used for his character. So the red pens, the red pens on his desk, he just suddenly will just brush them off the side of the table. Pick those up. She goes, all right, picks them up and shit. Also uses darts. He uses like darts for a dartboard, chat, to dial on a phone with them. You just boop, bop, beep, bop, boop, and you make these calls that he's not calling anybody. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's weird. But she got the job. She's happy and everything. And, she goes in there. Things are going okay, chat. She's typing up everything for him, answering the phone and stuff. But, she's still still inside of herself, chat. Still a little awkward, still a little, mousy, that kind of thing. She, we have one of these continuous people that always goes in the office because he gets a lot of other lawyers that go into his office chat. By the way, the whole office area was just weird to me because it's very much it's a gutted house that has been turned into an office area, and it just feels old. And I don't know, it just reminded me of one of my previous jobs I used to have. And it was just like, God damn, there's just something about this that gets me. They really, really nailed it. Like, it's supposed to be, it's like, yes, it's an office area, but it's also, hey, it's like a house too. We get to hang out, but it's not. So it's kind of awkward. The Rainmaker, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see you. But she goes in the bathroom. One of the other paralegals is there, chat, that, that's often working with or, working on cases with Mr. Gray. And even, it's funny, though. It's like, even though she's a secretary, because the paralegal asks her, she's like, oh, you're the new secretary, huh? She goes, yeah. She goes, the latest one, right? She goes, what do you mean? She's like, oh, nothing. It's okay, honey. And she even asked she's like, you know what? I have a question. What's a paralegal? And she goes, so what's a pair? You work? Okay. And she just fucking leaves. It's like, all right. And then, it's like, you should probably know what your fucking boss does if you're working for him. Shouldn't you, chat? Shouldn't you? I think so. Chris Sales, welcome to stream. You used to be a sex. Goddamn right I was. Anonymous, sure think of the 400 biddies. Woo. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind. Very, very kind. Hope you're doing very well, you anonymous son of Vino. Thank you for your generosity. Happy to have you here. But she notices that the rude lady left some makeup behind. She's like, wait, whatever. And she starts using the lady's makeup, chat, just put it on her lips and the eyes and everything. It's like, this is mine now. This is mine. And it's like, all right. And then, her daily activities continue. Making the coffee, chat, puts in the 2 sugars for, good old James Spader, good old Ultron. And he comes over and he's like, Maggie. And she's like, yes, you need to set the mouse traps. They got a fucking rodent infestation problem, chat, which I can fucking relate to. My old job, chat, used to work at Texas State. We had a rat infestation. So many fucking rats. It was disgusting. Chat. We have to lay out all these traps. Like, I live this, chat. This is me. This is me, chat. I'm Maggie Gyllenhaal in this situation, chat. I'm being lusted after by all the people in the office, sticking my rump up when I'm putting down all the mousetraps, chat. It's what I've gone through. This is what I've gone through, chat. That's why I like this movie so much. This is my life. Thank you. Big-Boy Artist, thank you for following my new Huckberry. Welcome to stream. Big-Boy Artist, hope you're doing very well. I'm telling the story of my life, which I'm comparing to the secretary at Kinky BDSM Dramedy. So he's like, you got to set the traps down for all the mice. Please take the cheese. And so she goes to the fridge, all these fucking cheeses, chat, these little cheeses. And she goes to the traps, and she doesn't know how to fucking operate the trap. And she's like, he's like, I'll show you. And it's like a very intimate look, because, Mr. Gray, his whole thing is like control. And it's like, he's very articulate, intimate look, how he sets the trap down. Like, because cinematography is very good. He puts the cheese in there. He goes, there you go. Now you can do it, right? And she goes, of course. And he goes, okay, go put it down over there. She goes, okay, sir. Yes, sir. And she turns around, chat. She sets it down, ass sticking up. And he's just like, he's just all about it, chat. He's like, Maggie. He goes, yes. And he calls her Miss Holloway. She goes, yes, sir. Be sure to put it in the corners, too. The mice like to be by the corners of the rooms. That's where they often go to. And she goes, okay. And she does. I'm like, what are you doing here? She, you should move the chair, but she does something really fucking weird. She climbs on top of the chair, chat, so her ass is just boom. It's just sticking out there, chat, flaunting it, chat, and the skirts tighten up around it, showing off her Maggie Gyllenhaal curves. And James Spader's just like, just watching her the whole time, chat, and she puts it down there, and she looks behind him. He's like, and she's like, and the phone goes off at the same time. The mousetrap falls. And so it's like, it's clearly he's lusting after it, Chad. There's no question at this point. Also, later on, it's the next day, Chad. We see various, it escalates over time. And she, gives him his coffee, and she tells her to do all these various things. Do this, do that. I want you to do this. I want you to do it this way, please. Okay. Also, I threw out some notes accidentally in this case I'm working on. You need me to go through the garbage. You need me to look through the garbage, Mr. Gray? He goes, yeah, I need you to go through the garbage. She's like, okay. And she goes outside, and she just fucking gets into the garbage. She literally Chris, she literally climbs into the dumpster, chat. And it's just, just throwing the trash in the air. She's just getting all dirty and everything. and is fishing through it. And she finally finds the notes. She's like, I got him. But she notices, she notices that her mom's car is parked in this gravel parking lot, like right in front of the thing, behind some bushes. But she goes over there, and she's like, Mom, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, I'm just waiting for you. And she's like, Mom, I don't get out until another 5 hours. She goes, yeah, I'm just early. So the mom is just really concerned about her, chat. But, Maggie Gyllenhaal says, I have no control. And so she goes back in the office, chat, and hands him she's just standing there. He's like not acknowledging her. She's just standing there for minutes at a time. She's just like, he's like, ah. And she's like, okay. I have to, Just awkward as fuck. Just really weird and awkward. And she's like, I found your notes. He goes, oh, yes, the notes, yes. Thank you for acknowledging the notes. I actually found a copy of them. Thank you. Please get me another coffee, please. And it's just like, what? It's okay. Spader, he's the original Mr. Gray, big boy. Yeah, very much so. And she's like, what the hell? And so she leaves, Chad. She's all fucking messed up and everything. Eventually, though, during all this stuff, a person comes in the office, Chad. A blonde lady comes in the office. Also, we saw early in the movie, James Spader is constantly looking at this blonde woman the entire time. She's in this photograph, this Polaroid photograph, just constantly just looking at it the whole time. He puts it away, puts it in a folder. But we see this blonde woman, chat in the flesh, and she goes up to Maggie, who's on the phone call with this telemarketer, and she's just like, "Fuck you!" And because she was tired of talking to him, she hands him the phone, and she's like, "Hey, is James Spader in?" And she's like, "I'll go and see." And she goes there. Because the blonde lady is like, James Spader, and he's like, oh! And he's very scared, chat, of this blonde lady, and she goes, and she's like, James Spader, he's gone, he's not in his office. He's like, Mr. Gray? Mr. Gray's like, I'm in here. And he fucking locked himself in the closet. And she's like, why are you in the closet? Can you tell that bitch to go away? And he's like, tell her I'm not here. She's like, okay. And so she goes out. She's like, yeah, Mr. Gray's gone. He's left. And she goes, oh, is that right? And Maggie goes and sits down. She's all like mousy again, Chad, like all inside herself. She's like, you're submissive, aren't you? And she goes, excuse me? You're like, you're a sub. I could tell just by looking at you. You're a goddamn sub. And she's like, okay. And then she watches as the blonde lady just goes and sees the coat rack that James Spader always, because it was raining, he always puts his coat on there, chat. And she just takes it off. She goes, and she just starts stomping on it, just like, and the whole time. And Maggie's just like, Jesus Christ. And it's like, James Spader, when you come out of the fucking closet, let him know to sign those papers. Tell him to sign those goddamn divorce papers. And apparently that was his wife. And she leaves. I'm Saver. Thank you for resubscribing. He's not trapped. Trapped in the closet. Thank you so much. Oh, why is this thing? DualShock battery low. Why is the battery low? Hold on, chat. Doing something real quick here. Making sure that controller is nice and charged. Just want to make sure. Oh, that's why, because this thing is loose. Sorry about that, chat. Technical difficulties right there. But after that, it's just like, okay, that was just fucking weird. That was weird. But she's like, okay, I'll tell him. And she's like, she went away. He's like, oh, thank God. And then, chat, we cut. We then cut to Maggie. She's going on a date with Peter. And this is fucking weird. So the date, his choice, is a laundromat / restaurant. Is this the thing where, yeah, you could do your laundry and you can go get some pasta? It's like, is that with these really, like, oh, God, with wine? It's like an Italian restaurant mix of a laundromat. And apparently that's the most, those exist? That's real? I never knew that. I had no idea. Wow, okay, so there's a laundromat, chat mixed with a fucking pasta Italian meal restaurant. All right, fair enough. And they're bonding over everything, having a good time, talking about stuff while eating dinner. But when, just about their lives and things, you find out that good old Pete, he had a nervous breakdown apparently a few years ago because she's like, you seem different. He goes, yeah, I had a nervous breakdown. She's like, oh, me too. And they bond over their shared trauma chat. And later they're folding laundry with each other and things, having a good time. And she's like, this is a weird thing because she's asking, like, Peter, what do you want in life? He's like, I want a family, I want a wife, I want kids and everything. But she's like, Peter, but you wear like tighty whitey underwear. I see you folding it, and that will constrict will constrict my what, Maggie? Your scrotum, your balls, your grapes. They start doing all these references to balls and things, chat. And testicles and things. They're laughing, and all this. And James Spader walks in, he goes, it's my secretary. Who's that? Who's that person right there? And he is not happy about this shit. He's not happy about his secretary seeing another man. And then the next day, chat, she's back at the office and things, and he's just very aggressive towards her, chat, because when she makes a typing mistake, which is, happens, makes a typing mistake, chat, he comes back and is saying, I found 3 fucking typos in this, and he slams it on the table. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, type it again. Type it again. And she's like, okay. All right, I'll go and do that. And so she goes ahead, she types it again, and more mistakes. She's like, you fucking this up. Why the hell did I hire you? Why the hell did I hire you? You gotta type this over again. And she's like, okay. Oh, all right, I'll go and type it again. And she does it again, chat, and she goes to him. He's on the fucking phone and everything. He's on the phone, and she's just standing there with the paper. And he goes, what do you want? And he's like, I typed it. He goes, oh, aren't you going to proofread it? He goes, do I need to proofread it? I don't. Do I need to proofread it? She goes, I'm just going to put it right here. And he goes, yeah, okay. He goes back on the phone. Just starts very weird. Eventually, she goes back, chat. She goes back, and she gets a good old ring-a-ding-ding because she's just very flustered. Her boss was very aggressive towards her. Marie's so good to see. Hope you're doing great. James Spader is great. Great. James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal killing this film. No doubt about it. The performances are what sell the movie. And she goes back. She gets a ring-a-ding-ding on the phone. She goes, hello? And it's her dad. He's like, Maggie. And she's like, Dad, are you okay? I just wanted to hear your voice, Maggie. I just want to hear your voice. I like the way you sound. And she's like, are you drunk, Dad? No, I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk, okay? Fuck, you're such a bitch, Maggie. And she's like, Dad, hold on, because then there's other people in the office that are coming in. She's like, Dad, hold on, because then we hear James Spader go, Maggie! And she goes back there. He's like, I found another mistake. She's like, okay, I'll fix it. I'm sorry. And she goes back, and the dad, he fucking wandered off in the streets of L.A. again, chat. It's just not good. It's just not good. Eventually, chat's like also he goes over to her and he says Maggie, because she makes her type it again, chat. But it's weird because she wants to cut herself. She wants to cut herself again. But what she does is she destroys a part of her skirt. Like she cuts out, like instead of her body, she's like, I need to cut myself. I need to cut myself right now. But I don't have my tools or my like Band-Aids and things. Or my suturing kit. So she cuts out a piece of her skirt and puts it next to the typewriter, and she constantly stares at it while she types it out, and now it's perfect. And eventually she goes back there and she drops it off, and James Spader, he's like, put it on the desk. And she walks away, and he looks at her skirt, and he goes, Maggie? And she goes, yes. And he goes, Maggie, you're disgusting. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, you not only type for me and answer the phone, but you are the first thing people see that enter this office, which has a rodent problem, by the way. You must dress presentable. You can't be dressing like this with holes in your skirt and tears and tatters. And you're constantly pulling at your hair. Your hair is always askew. All right? If you can't, I can't have hair falling out everywhere, so you should wear a hairnet next time you're in the office. And you're sniffling. You're constantly, she's like, I didn't know I was sniffling. You're always sniffling. So maybe you should fix that. Fix that. And she goes, yes, sir. And she leaves. And we cut back to the next day. We cut back to the next day. We see a scene where she goes and meets Peter's parents, chat. I guess they have begun dating. And you could tell why Peter's so fucked up because the parents, much like Maggie Gyllenhaal's parents, chat, they're so dominating. they're so completely dominating over him, and they're saying, "Oh my God, Peter, you know, he is the way he is. It can't be helped. It can't be helped sometimes. What are you gonna do? But we're just so happy that he found the love of his life." And he's like, Peter does a good job in this. He's like, don't say this. Don't say this. And he's like, can you believe? Look at his brother. Come look at his brother right here. Look how handsome his brother is. Look at his beautiful bride. Oh, he's a wonderful son. And we have Peter, and he's, you know, he's not his brother, but we like him. We're happy for him, of course. And when he always talks about you, and he always tells you he found the one. He tells Ma, I found the one. And Maggie's just like, we've been dating for like 2 weeks. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, here's the problem here. Exactly, now, right? And he's like, yeah. She's like, did you say that? Did you say that? And he goes, yeah. Just so embarrassed, Jeff. Eventually, Maggie, she goes back to the office chat. She has a hairnet now for her hair. She's not trying to cut herself anymore, and she's taking nasal spray so her nasal passages are completely clear. Chat. She's not always sniffling. But then she hears James Spader calling for her. And, that's the other thing, too. I forgot this scene, Chad. So when she was bending over and showing off her ass, he notices the cuts on her leg, Chad, the bandage cuts on her leg. And that's key for this scene. And so he's like, Maggie. And, you know, also, I think after this scene, we had the moment where the dad, they found the dad. He checked himself in the hospital. And this is when Maggie asked to go to check on her father, I believe. And there's a lot of trauma. And James Spader observes this. He observes this and observes the thing with Peter and everything. Eventually, Maggie returns to the office. She does the nasal spray. She has the hairnet and everything. James Spader's calling her. She goes over. And thinking that she wants the coffee. He's like, I don't want any coffee right now. I don't need any coffee. Thank you. And she goes, okay. And he's like, sit down. Like, sit down on the couch. And, you know, she sits down. And he basically confronts her about a couple things. It's like, I saw you at the laundromat the other day. So are you dating someone right now? She goes, yeah, I guess I kind of am. And he goes, okay. All right. Do you like this guy? Do you like him? And she goes, it's just dating. We're just trying to figure things out. And he goes, that's cool. I noticed you're a little stressed out sometimes. And, I know I come off a little strict. Come off a little dominating sometimes, but I just want you to know that, if you need to confide in me about anything, you let me know, okay? Also, why do you cut yourself? And she's like, and she gets like really awkward and everything. Really awkward about this. She doesn't know how to answer. She's like, well, no, I want to know why do you hurt yourself like this? And, he's like, I know about your father recently. I know about your mom. I know your mom's always outside in the parking lot waiting for you to come out every single day. I see her out there all the time. He's like, why do you cut yourself? And she's not saying it. She clams up. And he's saying, are you hurting yourself because you're not able to articulate the pain? In order for the pain to come out, you hurt yourself in this way? And that makes you feel better? And you try to hurt yourself? And she pretty much says, yeah, that's the reason, because she can't articulate her pain. She can't express it. It takes in the form of the cutting. And he's like, listen, I want you to I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to go home early now. Okay? I'm going to send you home early from work. Nice little half day. All right? And what I want you to do, all right? It's always what I want you to do. I want you to do this, I want you to do that. He says, you're not going to cut yourself anymore. You got to stop that. I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't want that. And you don't want it either. And you're going to go outside and tell your mom that you're not going to drive home with her, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to walk home from now on. You're going to walk home from now on and enjoy yourself, okay? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, excellent! Let me take your picture. And he gets his Polaroid, Chad. He starts taking her pictures, and she's like, this is another one for my collection. A fine addition to my collection. He goes, okay, wonderful. This is great. Phil Freak, welcome to stream. Oh, Yatsuma fan. Hope you're doing very well. Good. 69 viewers. Nice. Nice, Chad. And so then she just goes out, shit. She starts walking. She's like, this is the first time I think I ever took like a walk for myself, and it was wonderful. Exercise, Chad, helps you. She breathed easily for the first time in a long time. And it was all because of what Mr. Gray told me to do. He told me to do it, and I'm doing it. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And she's enjoying herself, Chad. She's enjoying herself. She's walking around, everything. Good time for her. Eventually, she's back at the office the next day, and Mr. Gray, he's still finding these typos, though. I found another typo, and he's very mad about it. He marks in the big, thick red pen, and he goes, here, take this, type it again. And she goes, okay, she types it up again, and she, is about to go and bring it to him to proofread, and he goes, put it on the desk, just like that. And she's like, okay. She puts down the desk, chat, and he goes, lean over like this. And she's like, all right, just lean, but don't sit down. You're going to lean over like this. Put your arms right here, lean over like this, and read the letter. Start reading it from the top. And she goes, okay. Dear Mr. Smith, Gray Law Esquire would like, and then he just slaps her in the ass, chat, as she continues to read. She's like, whoa! Just starts slapping her ass, chat. And she goes, what? Keep reading. And she keeps reading, Chad. She keeps reading this letter and goes, bah, good. He's not like one. It's going all from different angles, Chad. It's like sometimes from the back, sometimes from the side. He is slapping the shit out of that booty butt, Chad, going at it. And she fucking finishes it. She fucking finishes reading, and he's like, read it again. And he goes to town on that ass, chat, starts slapping that ass again, every which way you can imagine, okay? And then eventually, he goes ahead, he sits down at his desk. He's like, go ahead and type it. Type it one more time. And she just fucking leaves. And she goes to the bathroom, chat, check on her. It's all bruised, it's all red and everything. The thing is, though, she liked it. She liked it, chat. She liked it. He's like, oh, there's something about this that I never experienced before. It's just so goddamn good. And she just loves it, chat. And so she goes back home. And she takes over cutting stuff that she had, everything of the knives and the razor blades and things, and the ceramic ballerina, chat, that she sharpens on the thing, and she throws it into the river. She throws it in the river because she has found something that makes she experiences pain, but she likes the pain. Okay, and she starts to form an attraction to Mr. Gray. And so then, chat, we just get a fucking montage of the dom-sub relationship, chat. All sorts of things. Him slapping her ass for all of her mistakes. She's reading the letters this sends out. Has her strapped into that Hainer contraption, and she's doing all these things for him and all that, chat. Has it where he puts a saddle on her, chat, and rides her around like a horsey. It's like, what the hell? Got hay for her and everything. Just living that fantasy, chat. And all sorts of crazy stuff. All sorts of crazy stuff. And she's like, just starts to fall in love with him. She starts to fall in love with him. She goes back to her house. She's masturbating constantly. She's reading Cosmopolitan magazine. He's like, girl, you got to masturbate. And she starts masturbating, and she starts thinking of James Spader in this like this garden, like this superimposed like blue screen, like Magnolian thing. She had like, oh, her flowers being released, like, because she's orgasming and everything, chat. And but then she sees a picture of Peter's going, yeah, and she imagines Peter, chat, but it's just, nah, I don't like Peter, no, James Spader all the way, and she's just orgasming, chat. She's just getting herself off, and she's really enjoying herself. Eventually, she wants more out of the relationship, though, chat. She wants more out of the relationship. She's this is the part where the dad checks in the hospital, chat. I forgot. I mixed up the one scene. But, she's masturbating to him. She's enjoying himself. They engage in this relationship. Eventually, she gets a call. Dad checked himself in the hospital. She goes there. And she's very upset by this. She's traumatized by it. And she needs to talk about it with someone. And she goes to James Spader's house. She goes to James Spader's house to talk to him about it. But she's never talked about this to him before. Something like this. And he's like always working out. By the way, Jay, you notice like he's always working out, and really it's to prevent himself, I think, from engaging in the sexual fetish or like masturbating. And so he works out to try to like control himself to ease it, so he's not constantly fucking doing it. Like he has this routine. Like you always see, he just randomly is just doing push-ups or doing lift chat or whatever you imagine. Sit-ups, just trying to control his urges. He does that through exercise. When we go back to his house, he's not just on this fucking treadmill, just fucking going at it, and she just knocks on the door, and he's like, Maggie, what do you want? What do you need? What do you want? And she's like, I just want to talk to you about. She wants to tell him about her father, what she's been going through, these feelings that she has for him, chat, but she's not able to articulate. And she brushes off. She says, I just want to remind you about this important case for tomorrow. And he goes, okay, no, thank you. And eventually, he's like, this has just gone way too far. It's gone way too far at this point, and he stops engaging in all this BDSM behavior with her. The thing is, like, she just really wants it, and she's feeling deprived of that, chat. And she's doing everything she possibly can to get him to start, doing the things that they used to do. But he just doesn't want to do it, chat. He doesn't want to expose her to that. He's like, I can't indulge in this. This isn't appropriate. I shouldn't have done this in the first place. Like, he's telling himself all this. But she still wants to do it, chat, because she's in love with him. And she starts doing, like, all this weird, kinky shit. She starts spanking herself at home, chat, with her own brush and stuff. It's like, it's not the same. She has the most awkward sex I've ever seen with an individual on screen with Peter. Her and Peter have like very awkward like shirt like sex. It's like they're still wearing clothes yet. Like they're still like wearing clothes. And I'm just like, this is weird. And he just sticks his peen through the little, like, slot of his underwear. It's like, that's not a good image, guys. Don't do that. Sticks his peen through the slot. I just love it. Because he does this fucking weird thing with his hands. He's like, oh. Like, his hands are up. He's just humping her like this and just going, wah. Yeah, and just making all these. I am not exaggerating. This is how the scene goes. It is so awkward. And he finishes, I think, and she's just like, wow. Okay. He's like, did you come? Did I hurt you? And she goes, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm good. You got it. You got me good. He's like, not great. But so she needs a little more spice in her life. And then who's that spice, Chad? James Spader. And so she's like, I'm going to do some really fucked up weird things. So part of the, So I think a part of the BDSM thing is wanting to be punished, and the sub will do acts that will encourage the dom, and I could, correct me if I'm wrong, encourage the dom to quote-unquote punish them for their misdeeds, their mistakes. And so what she does is she finds a fucking worm on the ground, and it's dead, it's all dried out and gross, and she mails it to James Spader. She mails it to James Spader, chat. And so one day in the office, he receives the letter. And he's like, all right. And he opens up the letter, chat, and he's like, oh. And it's like addressed from Maggie and everything. He's like, oh. He's like, ooh. He's like, oh, this is the best. This is just the best. And he's like, Maggie. Maggie's like, finally, okay, and we can get into it. And so she goes over to him. And, he sees before he does that, he opens the letter and he takes out one of the big red markers and just starts circling around it, chat. Just like, this is wrong. Also, we see on all the walls, chat, like there's this, like trophy cases of all of her, messed up work. Like all of her spelling errors or just errors from like the letters are like in cases now, in frames, like all on the wall. She has, it leads to his office, like a shrine almost. It's very odd, but he's circling this thing, and he puts the letter like right in front of like where she would be, where she would stand, and he would start slapping her ass, and he's like, assume the position, Maggie, and he's like, pull down your pants, pull down your panties. And she does this, Chad. It's like buttocks exposed. There goes the hoo-ha right there. And he just takes out his pee and just starts fucking jerking it. He goes to town. Doesn't enter her. Doesn't go inside of her, Chad. He just starts jerking it on her. And you assume he jerked on her. And he's like, I am done. You may leave. It's like, okay. Ace Rock, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. And she's like, well, okay. But she's like, all right, well, it could have been better. And so she's like, well, I want to, masturbate too. So she goes into the little lavatory chat, the bathroom, and she starts masturbating. He's like, I want to masturbate. He masturbate. I want to masturbate. And she starts imagining him hitting her. And then you have one of the other paralegals in the other stall just going, this is awkward. This is very awkward. She leaves, just disgusted. Eventually, she goes out and she takes her lunch break. She goes and takes her lunch break, and you see that she's been researching BDSM relationships. That's how she knew about the worm and all this stuff, and like what to do to engage with an individual who is a dom, to set them up, like to get the kink moving and grooving. And so she goes, she's just fucking eating her lunch, and she's listening to it. I knew this was the 80s. I think this was the 80s, late 90s, because she's listening to a cassette tape. Eventually, James Spader, he's just in his office, and he's trying to clean himself off because he noticed he has, jism all over his pants. He's like, no! Oh, no! Oh, Jesus! He's just trying to get it all off, Chad, but it's all dry now, and so it's like, this isn't good. You can't get it off, Chad. It's too much dry jism. And so eventually, we see him, Chad. He's at his desk. He's at his own typewriter, and he's doing writing a letter to Maggie saying, "I'm sorry, we can't do this. What I'm doing is disgusting with you. My apologies." But eventually, she comes back, and he comes in the room, and he's like, "Maggie, come in." And she goes, "Okay." She's like, "Hell yeah, things are moving and grooving even more." And this is a very weird scene where he goes, "Are you pregnant?" And she goes, "No." He's like, "Do you have a boyfriend? Or are you married?" And he starts reenacting the start of the relationship chat. And he goes through it again. And it's the same scene. It's the same scene, just in a different time. And it's like, okay. And she even finds the original thing. She's like, "Oh, we're role playing." She thinks it's a role play. She presents her test scores and everything again. And he sees all this. Well, you're exceptionally qualified for this, overqualified for this job. Why should I hire you and everything? Because I fucking love you. Because I love you. And he's like, "Yeah, I can't have you on here. I can't have you work for me." And she goes, "Why?" And because your behavior is abhorrent. She goes, "What are you talking about?" And he starts going over all the things they've done. And she's like, "But we engage in that together." He's like, "You're fired, Maggie. Now get out of here. You're fired." And she's like, "All right." And so she gets out of there, Chad. She gets out of there. And she's just, she just becomes just very unsatisfied with herself. She's just very unsatisfied with her life. She's like, fuck, Jesus, this isn't good. But she's like, he might be gone, but I still want him. I still want him. And she starts stalking him a little bit, Chad, because he puts one right montage, which is the same thing. She remembers the old secretary, her walking out. She's going through the same exact thing, packing all her stuff up, leaving the office. And she goes back there occasionally, Chad, just to see who he's going to get next, a new secretary. And he got a new secretary, Chad. Doesn't know if he's engaged with that behavior with her yet, but that's what happens. And she's like, "Well, I can't get him. Maybe I'll start, subbing myself out." So she literally starts somehow contacting me. I don't know. They don't really say how she contacts people, but she gets in touch with other people in the Dom sub-relation. Some funny fucking shit. One guy is just a Harvey Weinstein-esque guy. He's like, nipples. Immediately like, let's have a platonic handshake. And it's like, okay. And he's like, nipples. And it's like, oh, no. And then other guy is just like, piss all over my patio. She's like, I don't want to piss over. Do it. I thought you were a deviant. And he's like, no. And then she goes to this locally owned family diner, this grill place, where this guy, the only way he can get off, Chad, is to be strapped to his grill, his hot skillet grill, chat, handcuffed there, while Maggie Gyllenhaal pelts him with rotten tomatoes. He's like, "I love this. Oh God, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me." It's just like, she's like, "I did all these things, and it just was not nearly as good. It was not nearly as good as what I had with Mr. Gray." And then one day, what's his name? Pete. Good old Pete, Chat, proposes to her at the basement of a JCPenney, which is creepy, which is pretty goddamn creepy, Chat. Worked at the JCPenney, Chat. He's like, "I love you, Maggie. Marry me." And she's like, "I said yes." And so now we're on the day of her wedding, Chat. And, we have, her mother-in-law's just like, "Oh, this dress, it can't quite get around you. I was this is my dress. I was a little slimmer. You guys are a little thicker nowadays. Don't worry. I'll get you some help." And she's like, "Oh, fuck this. Fuck this." And she gets out of the house, Chat. And Pete's like, "No, I can't see you, Maggie." He's like, fuck you, I don't care. And she starts running away. She starts running out. Also, dad's sober. He's doing better. She's helping out her dad. He's getting better at what he needs to be, Chad. Being actually a good person, good father. And she fucking just beelines towards Mr. Gray's office. Chad, just kicks down the goddamn door. Secretary's like, excuse me. She goes, bah, just hits her, Chad, smacks her, just open hand, backhands her. She goes down, and she just busts in the fucking Mr. Gray's office. James Spader's like, oh! And he's like, Maggie, what are you doing? He's doing his, like, his power squats, Chad's power squats, because he want to prevent himself from masturbating, engaging in sexual activity with the new secretary. And she's like, fuck you, asshole. I'm in love with you. I love you. And he's like, Maggie, listen, what we did, it wasn't good for you. It wasn't good. She's like, I liked it. I liked it. You liked it. We've been working with each other for months. We can't deny. I know you love me too. You love me too, but you just don't want to deny because you're scared. You're scared about what happened to that blonde girl all those years ago. That's what it is. She's like, fuck you. Don't mention her. Don't mention her. And they keep going at it. They keep going at it. And she's like, what am I gonna fucking do to prove to you that I love you? Okay, and that you love me too. And he's like, oh, you know what? You just stay here. You just stay here, and I don't care. And she's like, yes, sir. And he's like, what? She goes, I'll do that. And he's like, you're going to sit in that chair right there, and I'll think about when I come back, but you're going to stay there. Also, he does other things before he tells her what to eat, too. I forgot this one scene where he says, you're going to have a spoonful of mashed potatoes and 4 peas. And all the ice cream can eat, but nothing else. No meat. And that's like what he does. He does he controls her life, Chat. But she loves it. She gets off to it. And she's like, I'm going to sit in this goddamn chair in your office in her wedding gown, Chat. Hands placed like this the entire time waiting for him. He's like, and I'll be back. I got to think about this. And he leaves. He goes home. And she spends the next fucking 3 plus days there, Chat, just not sleeping, not eating, just sitting there. Eventually, Pete comes by, Chat, later in the evening, asking about Maggie. Like, Maggie, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, I had to stay here for sir. And he's like, what? I'm your fiance, Mag. I'm your fiance. He grabs her and helps her. And she's like, get off me. And they start fucking fighting. She immediately goes back to the chair. And she immediately sits down. She just places her hands as they were. And he's going, is this like some sort of sex thing? She's like, you wouldn't understand. It's a lifestyle. And he's like, all right, fuck it. I'm not marrying you. He leaves. He's very, very distraught. And he leaves. And then we just get scene after scene after scene of her just being there, Chad, for 3 days. She starts pissing herself because she can't go to the bathroom. Just farting and pooping. Pooping and piss everywhere, Chad, all over the place. And eventually, all these people start coming. I don't know if these people are real or they're just going to her, Chad. It's not known, but it becomes like this big media sensation where people are like, oh, it's like fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal's hunger strike. And she's visited by her psychiatrist, by her sister-in-law, by her brother-in-law, by her mother, by her much more sober father. All this is happening, Chad. Media's been covering this, and she's like, she starts hallucinating. She hasn't eaten, she hasn't done anything, just poop and piss. That's all it is. She's getting high off her own supply. And James Spader, he starts seeing this, and he goes, huh. All right, I love her. And he goes there, Chad, rescues her, takes her back to his home, bathes her, Chad, bathes her, little nipples, little nipple play, Chad, having a good time. And then they make love on this grass. So he grows. He's like a big plant guy. He's all these flowers and things everywhere in his office space. And he has like this grass bed, right? And they make love on the grass bed. And she shows off like all of her self-harm scars to him. And he kisses all of them. He kisses all of them. She explains them all. And for the first time, she says through her narration that she feels beautiful because he appreciates her for her body. Right, and the relationship they're engaged in, they're smooching, and they're having a great fucking time. They had a great weekend, Chat. They have a shotgun wedding, Chat. They have a June wedding. She wears a black wedding dress, and it was just the two of them because he can officiate weddings, Chat. He officiated his own wedding, and they're off on the weekend, Chat. And she ties her to a tree, and he just fucks her for a weekend, Chad. And they live in a cabin for a little while, but then they got to come back because it's paralegal, busy man. And then we cut, Chat. And it's them, like, making the bed together and having a good time. He's like, I'm making nice and tight. It's called nice and tight, sir. He goes, okay, all right. And you want to do it right now. They're smooching and everything. He goes, all right, listen, I gotta make myself a quick breakfast. I'll see you downstairs. He's like, of course, sir. And he's like, ha, ha. They go down there. But then, Chad, she takes a fucking cockroach out of her pocket and throws on his neat bed because that will engage him. They'll get him interested because, you did a bad thing. I have to reprimand you. Goes back downstairs. They're on the front porch. He has a nice cup of coffee, kisses her, kisses her, goes in the car, parks out, goes in reverse out the driveway. He waves to her like, bye, honey. She goes, bye, dear, bye, sir. He goes, and he drives off, and we see all these school buses by, all these kids, people walking their dogs and things, and her just looking out this scene, of her life. And the movie ends. And that's secretary, And I think what the movie's message was, unless you have your own opinions on what a sexual fetish, BDSM, whatever. But I think the movie's message is that people have this sexual kink, the sexual fetish, whatever it might be, but they're still people. They're still ordinary people. They can still have ordinary lives. You can still have a husband and wife or whatever, and they can go to work, and she can sit out on her porch, enjoy a nice cup of coffee, enjoy a bright and beautiful day. I think that's the message of the movie. I think it's like, this is just, hey, people are in this kind of thing, not harming each other. Honestly, they're both consensual. I mean, initially maybe it wasn't a little consensual, but now they both like it. I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah, the message is no kink. I think that's literally the message. Rachel had the choice between Bruce and Ultra, and she chose Ultra. Yeah. That's what I feel like it is. This movie that would be behind those B curtain section of the video store. Yeah, there's some kinky stuff in there. But honestly, I'll tell you this, chat. Great movie. Very well acted. I mean, the whole cast does a great job, even the supporting tertiary characters. But Maggie Gyllenhaal and James Spader, they have excellent chemistry, no doubt about it. The stuff they do to each other, it's like you buy it. You're brought into this world, and they do a great job selling it. So yeah, it's a great film. I know at the time that it kind of got, mostly positive reviews, but it definitely got a mixed reception. I know that some people consider it deviant and disgusting, but I think it's a good movie, and it's the antithesis of 50 Shades of Grey, Chad, where it's like, no, this is actually good. It's well written. So I would give it a full price. This is a straight up full price movie, Chad. Highly recommend checking it out. It's on, I think it's on Peacock for free. I watched it via Amazon, Chad. I paid the money, but it's an interesting watch. Maybe with your significant other. So there you go, Chad. That was Secretary. Hope you enjoyed the review. Deadpool, thank you so much for the 10 biddies. I think one of the other messages of the movie, the characters are broken people with their own problems, and when they meet, they find the broken bits of fit with each other. Yeah, I think that's the other thing. I think it's a very positive message at the end of the day. The movie does, chat. I'm just going to fix something real quick, chat. Please bear with me as I do so. As I do so, my friends. God damn. Making sure some of this stuff is working. Make sure my controller is charged. My PS4 controller is not able to hold the charge very well. It pisses me off. But there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. This review was cray-cray. And I hope you enjoyed the review, especially Nia Brown. I know this is one of your slow clap. Brilliant! It's all right and everything is consensual and nobody's a stalker. Well, she's a little stalkerish. She's a little stalkerish. Not going to lie about that. A little stalkerish does. Little stalking antics do come in at the end there. But thank you, Deadpool. Thank you. All the generosity, chat, really do. Encore! Do it again. Do the review again. That was a fun review. I knew it would be a fun movie to review. It was a good time, chat. It was a good time. Oh, but now, my friends, we're going to go ahead. Well, I'm going to take a brief break. I'm going to take a brief break. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh on my beverage. In the meantime, please entertain yourselves among yourselves. 5 out of 5 slaps on the tokus. I love it. Everyone, Panda, good to see you. So I'm late, but how would you rate Harley Quinn so far? I've heard mostly great. Oh, the anime series? Oh, great. High full price. Love the show. Maybe even better than Sex. It's one of the best animated shows out there right now. Could not recommend it higher. I'll be reviewing Harley Quinn episode 5 in just a bit, chat. But in the meantime, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return with more H2O.